Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super discussion video. And you guys know I wouldn't be doing this without MJ from MJxTV. MJ, what is up? I just said MJ like 3 times, by the way. 4.
Are you sure about that? Because you've been collabing with other people, so it's cool, bro. It's whatever. You're bringing me on here like a charity case or something, bro. No, I'm just kidding, bro. I'm just kidding. Steel to Steel Productions. What's going on, bro? How you doing?
Too many nicknames, dude. Too many nicknames. Anyway, guys, today we're going to be talking about Universe 2 and really just...
Them Tiggo biddies, bro.
Oh my god. Like, literally, just what is going on with Universe 2 when it comes to the people that they've talked about in the particular, or no particular order. And guys, we will be talking about spoilers, so please make sure to click off of this video if you don't want to be spoiled, because why would... We want to give fair warning. Anyway, man, so it has been confirmed, and I waited on this because I don't necessarily know what to think, but I just want to talk about it generally. It has been confirmed that there is a tuffle in Universe 2. Or, yeah, Universe 2. And Arya Jadian from Universe 7, or at least Universe 6 or 7, which we know they should be, but no, they're in Universe 2 as well. So... general thoughts on that, man. Like, what do you think? Like, is it weird?
Fucking weird, dude.
Like, for what reason?
What else can you really say about it? Because Universe 2 now has not only a yard rat, like you mentioned, the guys who learned the guys who are, you know, the creators of the instant transmission to our knowledge, you know what I mean, the teleportation technique. They're in Universe 2. Now you have a Tuffle or a Sufurian, if you want to be exact with it. So you have a Tuffle there too, and it's just like, wow. I remember when Herms translated that scan or whatever it was. I can't remember exactly where it was from, but when he translated that scan, everyone was just like, what? Nani? You know? We're just like, what the hell? Because it's like, what? And then you have people like, is GT canon now? You know what I mean? You had all that stuff, so it's a bit weird. Now, me and you're talking off air. The idea that a Tuffle was in Universe 2. Now, the Tuffles aren't mentioned in the manga, and I'm not too sure if they're mentioned in Kai, but they are mentioned in the OG Z anime. You know what I mean? Obviously in GT, but in the OG Z anime that aired back in the 90s, it is mentioned during that run. It was a filler scene, I believe, right, where Kaio tells Goku about this. So, yeah, the Tuffles were mentioned then, but again, we don't know if it's hard to say. Is this Tuffle from Universe 7, Universe 6? You know, is he not? You know, it's just crazy.
I will say, although they didn't mention the Tuffles by name, Sufurian, whatever you want to call it, when Kaba brings up Planet Sidal at the very first tournament of Dragon Ball Super, he's like, well, you have Planet Sidal still? Our planet died out because of infighting, and we had to steal another planet. He literally said we had to steal another planet. It became Planet Vegeta. He never said who from. And the one thing I was thinking about when I first saw this news is the same thing you just said. Is like they were never officially canon, and we know Dragon Ball Super likes to like pull from a lot of things. It wouldn't be too hard for them to just write over that, considering the fact that, like you said, I don't necessarily watch Dragon Ball Kai. I am more familiar with the manga. I'm more familiar with the original anime run. I'm not necessarily familiar what they did or didn't leave out with that particular iteration of the series. But Dragon Ball Super is a sequel to Dragon Ball Kai, for the most part. But it does pull from almost everything else, video games and movies and all this other stuff. So it wouldn't be too hard for them to say, well, you know, they never existed in Universe 7, they always existed in Universe 2, and that's not canon anymore. Like, the whole getting it from the Tuffles and the whole baby thing was never canon. Anyway, a lot of people have already sit there. We already kind of, as a whole, took away the whole baby thing or GT thing. It's no longer connected to anything. So it's not the weirdest situation for Universe 2 to have a Tuffle, but it does go along the lines of, why are they taking so many people who should, at least from our knowledge as fans, be in Universe 6 and or 7 and putting them into Universe 2? And I'd gotta be clear, although it looks like, you know, although it's just a fan joke, they also have a General Rildo looking guy in their midst, and it's just a little weird. Like, personally, You and I have talked about multiple different theories before, but with all of these situations, I'm going to kind of briefly talk about them here, but with all of this weirdness that's going on with this universe, do you think that this isn't just something they threw in there because they couldn't think of another design or two? Is this just making it feel like Universe 2 might be way more important than we were led to believe?
Yeah, I think so, because the idea that, okay, they can't think of a design, I mean, come on. If they were really that desperate, how hard is it just to go to Google and just look up like a monster or something and just create a random design? I mean, when you look at Universe 9, people were making fun of the Marvel hero references, and the Universe 10, the Street Fighter references. So obviously it does seem they picked this design and character for a reason. Now, one of the things about GT, again, going into GT territory, one of the things about GT is that the Tuffles are small. That's mentioned, that they're just small people compared to like the Science, you know what I mean? When the Science showed up, the adult Science, right? They're just small people in stature. Like, I think this is an actual quote from the GT Perfect Files during the Tuffle and Scion knowledge, is that Teen Baby, the one that fights Goten and takes over his body, he's the size of an average Tuffle. So now when you look at that, most of the Universe 2, other than those few big guys, they're pretty small, you know what I mean? So any one of those guys could really be the Tuffle, you know what I mean? Obviously not the Yardrat, but one of the other, few guys who are short could possibly be the Tuffle. Then of course you got the magical girls, and you got that big motherfucker that looks like Thanos. Thanos and, General Rodo fuse, you know what I mean? And then so on and so forth. My point here is that it does seem like they're sort of taking away that design there. Then you look at the, the helmet and the mustache, what people are presuming to be the Tuffle. I guess you could really tie that in because he resembles that creator of Hachiak, right? So it's like, yeah, it seems like they're there for a reason. I think this is really leading us up to believe that Universe 2 is important, because think about it like this. We've mentioned in multiple different videos, they've had chances to take out certain characters. An example is Kel. Jiren had every bit of a reason to take her out, but instead he left her on the stage. Goku had every bit of reason to take out Khalifa and Kel when they were injured. He let them stay on the stage, so on and so forth. Characters have been left on the stage for a reason. I think we're going to get moments from there later on in this arc. And of course, who I'm talking about here is the Magical Girls and the Yardrat. He could have been knocked off when Khalifa kicked him, but he wasn't. They could have wrote in that Goku and 17 took out the Magical Girls, but they didn't. The Yardrat came and saved them. They're obviously being saved for something bigger down the line, I think. And we talked about sleeper universes that would actually play importance that people aren't thinking of, because, yeah, we know 6, 11, 7. Those are real important. Universe 2 is actually shaping up to be a universe that I think is going to be very important down the road. We had canon 3, 10, 9, 4, but I don't think that's the case. I think Universe 2 is actually shaping up to be an important universe. Think about it. The Tuffle, the designs of them. You got the Yardrat. The Yardrat has really come into play here. He's been shown eliminating people, using his technique to save his friends, so on and so forth. I think they're going to play an important part. It's no freaking coincidence that we have a Tuffle and a Yardrat, you know what I mean, on this team, and the fact that I think most of their team is still intact, right? They only lost like, what, 1, maybe 2?
They've
right?
only
They
lost two, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go.
I just want to, you were talking, one of the things that you and I have discussed on my channel and your channel is, and we might have been wrong, but we could have been right. All right, I just want to kind of reiterate this. We had that theory that, because they were, Universe 3 is a lot of biomechanical or androidian type of people, bioorganisms that are also like artificially enhanced. We thought, what if they did like a whole baby thing, because that was baby's origin. But now we have literally the same race that created baby on a completely other universe. And I would just want to point out that it's a bit weird that one of the big things that we saw from baby in GT was the very fact that he can manipulate people. And he can, I guess, get inside multiple different people and create some kind of a cult or kind of a symbiotic relationship between multiple people. More like an insect type of herding and parasite situation. And isn't that a bit weird that the only thing we've seen that even remotely resembles that is the way that Universe 2 reacted to the transformation of the beautiful women or the Sailor Moon girls, that they all kind of acted in unison, not just the girls themselves, not even just the fighters, but also the god of destruction. And it's interesting because it's played for laughs. They even had 17 interrupt it to make you feel like, okay, they're just going to transform. We've seen this happen before. It's not something that we are obviously, I guess, privy to. It's just something that we're supposed to laugh off. But what if there is some kind of thing like a baby organism, and the main team leader is this Tuffle, and the baby organism is the one controlling everyone else, making them all copacetic and being able to act in unison, like we saw a couple episodes ago. So, and another thing about that though is, isn't it weird considering the fact? Remember, we saw other people and how other people got recruited for their universe fighting. Obviously, Gohan and Goku and everyone went around and recruited everyone that we already knew from the show proper. But then we got Hit recruiting Frost, or we got Kaba recruiting Caulifla and Kale, and Gods of Destruction recruiting other people. Not, or in even Universe 3, you know, let's see all of your designs and stuff that you have to fight. What's your strategy? Not in Universe 2, though. We got a special showing from Universe 2 going to some weird tryouts. Like, yeah. And what if, like, some weird tryouts, what if that is, if they do decide to go the baby route or something, what if that was when they were all taken over? Because the girl, Ribrienne, goes alone. She's not with her partner. She literally goes there alone. You would imagine they would be together and yada, yada, yada. I'm just spitballing here, but, I mean, isn't there something here that just makes you scratch your head and think, like, this is strange, isn't it?
It is strange. Yeah, that could actually play a big part in this tournament. A lot of people talk about the twists and turns this tournament could have. That's definitely a big one right there. You know what I mean? That would definitely switch things up. And you are right about that. That is weird when you brought the trials. That's like, then again, people may be saying we're looking too into it. You know, that just could have been their way of recruiting. But at the same time, that's a very cool theory. And if you know anything about Real to Real, he's got a cool theory under his belt. I'm just
saying, like, it was completely different than anything else that we had seen. Everyone else was at least doing something relatively similar to each other, and they had tryouts. It was weird. But anyway, guys, I want everyone, but by the way, we didn't actually talk about this, and they haven't necessarily confirmed, but who do you think is the Tuffle?
Who do you think is the Tuffle?
I want to say it's the Beautiful Joe guy, but I kind of feel like that's like the old guy. But
yeah, I agree with you. I think so.
Isn't that a little bit easy? Like, isn't that a little too easy?
It is, but at the same time, he does have that weird-looking mustache. You know what? Let me pull up a picture of Universe 2. This is live, guys. Live recording right here. Going to Google.
He looks like it's weird because we don't necessarily know exactly what Tuffles look like. We're only going off of what was canon a while ago and probably isn't already.
Yeah, we're only going off the anime and GT.
We haven't seen what they really look like, and we haven't even seen this guy, the Beautiful Joe looking guy, do anything. On contrast, the other small guy, not the Yardradian, but the other small guy we actually saw go up against Hit and run away. Or no, Jiren. It was like he goes and stands next to Jiren and runs away. And then, of course, you have also the really big guy who is daunting, and you wouldn't necessarily imagine him being a tough one.
It totally does the complete opposite. Instead of being super small in GT, they're like super big.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think so.
But I'm looking at the picture right here, and okay, so one of the magical girls got eliminated by 17, and then the one with the wings got eliminated by 17. So we already know those aren't the Tuffles. They're out. The big guy, we don't think he's a Tuffle. Then you got that lion-looking figure, the one in the shadows. I don't necessarily think he would be a Tuffle. He looks like almost like an animal. And of course, you got the Yardrat. I'm telling you, bro, it has to be the Beautiful Joe looking guy. He has the mustache. He resembles Hachiak's, creator. He's the size of what a Tuffle is presumably to be if we're going off of GT. Now, someone on Twitter mentioned this when Herms translated that. They were saying it's funny how they have a Yardrat, they have the guy who looks like the creator of Hachiak, and then he mentioned that the orange guy, the one who ran away from from Jiren, almost looks like a tiny Hachiak. I guess because of the head. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was kind of funny to throw out there.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, there's just so many different things about Universe 2 that's just starting to point. I mean, you and I already talked in great detail and depth about the Yardradian, but with this revelation and all these other potential revelations that we could potentially get, I mean, we've talked about how they're in unison. We've talked about how they have, you know, Universe 11 might just be blowing smoke and might be a red herring, but their twin universe, which is also really weird that they're Universe 11's twin universe. So they're in the background, but they're just still as important. I mean, it's just so many different things pointing this. If there's going to be a team or somebody in the tournament that I guess picks up and completely like takes out, it would be this. And just one last thing I think would be really funny is, you know, a lot of people were speculating, oh, the person who's stronger than a god of destruction isn't in the tournament. You've spoken of that a lot. And one of the things I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he says, or we says, you know, like Beerus lost to a god of destruction in an arm wrestling contest, and everyone's like, oh, you know, that has to be the mouse because he's a cat and a mouse. It just makes sense. What if it is the rival? What if it is the Egyptian woman? Like, I just think that would be kind of funny, wouldn't it? Like, it would be unexpected. Like, it would be like a Toriyama. It's funny because it's kind of unexpected, but yeah, she's stronger than him.
Yeah, she's physically strong. Right, yeah, that would actually be fucking hilarious because if you remember when Wiz brought that up, he's like, Beerus like really quickly drinks his drink like with a straw, and he's just like nonchalant trying to look the other way. It would actually be kind of funny if that's the reason why, because he's embarrassed by the loss. You know what I mean? That would actually be pretty fucking hilarious. And it would,
if that were the case, it would set up the whole. It would set up the whole, maybe someone in Universe 2 is actually stronger than that god of destruction who's stronger than Beerus, or at least on par and thus stronger than Beerus, or something like that. And it would also indicate maybe one of the guys in the shadows, maybe one of the people that we're looking at right now. I mean, who really knows? But I mean, there's just so many things that they've said offhandedly throughout the last couple arcs that just make you wonder, like, what's going on with this particular team? Like,
yeah. The one thing I'm noticing too, as I'm looking at this picture on Google, is that it seems like a lot of these universes, well, I should say 2 for the most part. I guess 3, just counting 11. But it seems like these universes really did pick people who could help them in the tournament. Now, you look at Universe 2, for example. We got those 3 big dudes in the back, right? We got the one that looks like, you know, Thanos and Naruto. Then you got the 2 in the shadow. Real big dudes, presumably the muscle. Then you have the girl with the wings, a character who can fly. So you got that. Then you got the magical girls who can transform and increase their power. Then you got the, you know, the Yard Rat who can teleport and save us. You know, they did seem like they picked this team to actually be of use. You know what I mean? The same with Universe 6. You got the Science who can transform and increase their power. You got Hit with the time skip who can save his friends and stuff like that. Then you got the Healer, you know what I mean? And then you got the Namekian. And then you got the unstoppable people like Magetta and Potamo, right? So it did seem like they picked their team accordingly. You know what I mean? So that is kind of cool that I'm noticing here. I never really noticed about Universe 2, but it does seem like they did that, you know?
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, we haven't actually really seen a lot of these people perform. We're just really speculating about, like, what...
Going off of looks, but never judge a book by its
Exactly, especially when Toriyama is the one writing. So, anyway, guys, with that being said, I think we're going to leave it off at that. I really think that we need to be talking about, as a community, more in the future, Universe 2. They've gotten probably more shine than most other universes in the Tournament of Power thus far, outside of Universe, all the other ones really, outside of just 6 and 7. 11 hasn't even really gotten that much shine outside of the last episode. So I just think that there's a lot to be talked about. And anyway, but with that being said, guys, please make sure to go to the description section below, hit that link, and go subscribe to MJ. The guy makes some really awesome content. Do not forget to...
Stop stroking me, bro.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications every single time I upload. And I hope everyone has a good day. It's been real.